Good morning. It is Sunday morning and looks like another beautiful day across the landscape of the Home Depot. But good morning here in Fargo. There's Jake down there, and if we look out the window, we can see this little bear. And that's kind of a cool feature of this hotel, is that it's got these little bears all over the facade. I'll get a picture of it from outside. Kind of a nice, kid-friendly hotel. It was actually much quieter last night than I expected. Good night, looks like, according to the flagpole we have over there. We still have a good wind. Looks like that's going to be pushing against us today, but I think once we get up in the trees, it's going to block most of that. Should be all right. Looking forward to it. First order of business is to meet folks at the Supercharger, so I'm going to pack up here and get down for that. Good morning from Fargo, North Dakota. It's a beautiful morning, windy as usual.
Hi, I'm Mike Greenwood. I'm a Model Y 2021 driver and wanted to come meet Brian and meet everybody else here.
Is it always this windy here?
This is pretty typical. It's actually a little bit breezy for this early in the morning, but we're known for our wind.
That's the one thing every time I've stopped here, which is, well, I guess several times now, it's just like you get out and you're like, whoa, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, you gotta watch your doors.
Yeah. As someone local here, if you're coming to this area, what are some of the cool things around or things people stopping to charge shouldn't miss?
Yeah, I mean, at the Supercharger itself, there's a lot of shops, restaurants. Costco's walking distance, so if you really need to fuel up, you got a lot of stuff there. You know, Fargo, Moorhead, the downtown area is always pretty exciting for people to check out. Again, just a lot of action going on down there. They got a brand new kind of green space with a stage and a band and stuff going on usually. And there's actually a couple state parks on the Minnesota side, not too far off the interstate on I-94. So your typical sightseeing things, and then we've got our usual events with concerts, this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah, it's a great path. It used to be a great path just east and west for EV drivers, but now it is for north and south too.
Yeah, and with with Grand Forks and Watertown being open, it really opened up a lot of possibility for us. You know, my wife's from northern Minnesota, and so that opened up, easy accessibility for us to go up in the Tesla, and then we go down to South Dakota a lot, and so that Watertown station is key for us to getting down there a little bit easier.
Yeah, have you done that drive yet, or are you still looking forward to it?
Still looking forward to it. I've gone to Medora and back with 3 guys. We went and golfed Bully Pulpit and Hawk Tree and loaded everybody in our clubs into the Y and went there and back, which was great. But we haven't gone south yet. I've only had it since March, and so we've been and we had a brand new baby, so we haven't been out and about too much. The brand new baby, she's 6 months now. She was 3 weeks when we test drove in March, so she's experienced.
She's got more life experience with a Tesla percentage-wise than almost anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that a performance, or is
nope,
you just got better wheels on it?
Yeah, so I didn't do my research totally, but it's a Model Y long-range 7-seater, and I did the 20-inch wheels on it, thinking up here it'd be more snow and maybe an extra inch would give me a lift, but it turns out it just makes your wheel well smaller and clouds things up. So, but we like the look of it, and so far it's been great. We'll see this winter. I'm not going to put snow tires on this year because I just want to see it. I don't have a whole lot of miles on it. And then we'll kind of go from there. That's my wife. Yep, and we got a Honda Pilot, and slowly converting. She loves driving the Tesla, but for family purposes right now, we've got one of each, but soon to be both.
Excellent. Yeah, we're still rocking the 2008 Prius until that thing dies. So I get it.
Yeah. I traded in the 2010 Prius to Tesla for this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I was lucky enough. Stars aligned, they dropped this off and picked the Prius up and took it away, and so it was great.
Yeah, that is nice. They did that with us, but it's a little easier for them in Burnsville than it is up here.
Yeah.
Hi.
How are you liking the Tesla so far?
I was very skeptical and thought it was kind of silly, but I've actually been pleasantly surprised at like how comfortable it is and how much room is in it, and I haven't driven it a lot, but when I have, I've actually was impressed at how easy it was to like adapt to it. I don't know, but I'm not like a super technology person either, so I probably was more intimidated by it initially than anything else.
Is it quick?
Yeah, it does have a lot of balls, if you want to call it that. Yeah, it has a good pickup when you get on the interstate. So,
Actually, if you don't mind, I've never actually seen a 7-seater.
Oh, yeah.
Would you mind popping the
Yeah.
back open so I
Yeah,
can check that out?
You still have a little bit of trunk space.
Oh yeah, you still have that nice big well there. Yeah, this is pretty, that angle's pretty small.
just kid legs, not much space.
And these pop up a little bit for headrests?
Yeah, the headrests pop up.
Oh,
But like...
that would be right on the window.
Yeah.
You just kind of, you have to slide these forward a little bit to get your leg room in there. But once you're in, it's definitely for the kids.
Yeah, pretty snug for an adult.
But yeah, I probably,
Yeah,
we've done it, but it's kids.
yeah. Oh, cool. Thanks for showing me.
You can kick down those middle seats, right, by the buttons here or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can either just click this or this.
So we're having a good time here, checking out the 7-seater Model Y, and then it'll be off to Grand Forks and some more exploring in northern Minnesota. On the way to Grand Forks now, and it was really great to meet people in Fargo this morning and check out the 7-seat Model Y. That was really fun. In planning this trip, it was a little tough because I wanted to leave a half hour at least at each charger for the sake of visiting with people if they came, but at the same time not wanting to drag the days on too long. Like this morning, there was no reason for me to plug in, so I just showed up and hung out, which was fine. But, once we started getting talking and other people were there, and it was fun. But it was also a little of like, oh man, I don't want to be rude, but like, I got to get on the road. I'm running late already. But just great to talk with other Tesla people. I saw so many Teslas in Fargo. Just passed a white Tesla coming north. There was another red Tesla Model 3 that passed by while we were at the charger and didn't come in. And then the 3 and the Y that joined us there. Cool to see that even relatively early on a Sunday morning, the Teslas are out in force in Fargo. Because I was so focused on the sunrise behind us to the east, until I got on the road headed north here, I-29, I didn't realize that clouds were starting to come in from the northwest. I don't know if we're going to get a little rain. Looks like there might be a little bit ahead, but hopefully we can stay ahead of that storm as we go east throughout the day. Hello and welcome to windy Grand Forks, North Dakota. This is an 8-stall Supercharger V3, so pretty quick, and we've also got 4 charge point plugs at the end. Right in the Target parking lot, but there is a lot of shopping around. And for people like me, a handy tire place right behind the chargers. Kitty corner to this parking lot, there is a Starbucks, Jimmy John's, Cold Stone Creamery, and Culver's over there. There's also a Pizza Ranch and a few other restaurants nearby as well, all within walking distance, although it will be cold here in the winter. A nice good sized Target here, and Menards across the way if you need some other supplies. There is a downside to this otherwise great V3 charging experience, and that is that the pull-in spot has been put in kind of backwards, where you would just back into it like a regular spot. And I think the issue comes from them putting them along this side of the parking lot. Had they been facing the other lot behind me here, or had they been put over behind me that way, the pull-in spot, the back would face the parking lot. Unfortunately, that means that anybody coming with a Cybertruck or trailer is going to have a heck of a time trying to get in there. Now, maybe with some bikes like we saw in Worthington, you'll still be able to pull back, but a trailer is going to have to be disconnected unless they switch this around, which is probably unlikely. It's a little frustrating, especially since the Fargo one is also installed backwards, that there isn't a little better communication, or maybe it's a matter of care from the electric company installing it, to think through how these are actually going to be used. Now, interestingly, when I arrived, I had just plugged in for a couple minutes, and already it said I had enough to get to Bemidji. I did way overcharge because I got talking to somebody about the vehicle, so now I am well set up to get to Bemidji or past. The clouds are starting to break up a little bit. The weather is improving, so hopefully I can follow this storm rather than be driving through it. Before I leave, I'm finally going to get to cleaning that windshield that I meant to do yesterday in Watertown, but it definitely needs it now. Going to take care of that and then hit the road. Well, going north, we had a really nice tailwind, but we have to come down I-29 just a little bit, and that tailwind is now a headwind, and you can see the huge difference, and I'm even driving a little slower than I was coming north, so the wind up here makes a huge difference, and that's why charging infrastructure is so important to have bailout options as you move around the country. Because my Sunday video just dropped this morning, and I'm trying to keep people posted on social media. By the time I got my piece recorded and B-roll shot, I left about 20 minutes later than I meant to from Grand Forks. I think this is routing me a faster way than what I originally planned, but it's still saying if I don't stop, it's saying I'm going to arrive in Bemidji at 1:11, which is 11 minutes later than I had originally planned. And on this stretch, I kind of wanted to stop at a couple sites. Now, since I am traveling alone, there isn't anyone convoying with me. I might still make those and just make them quick photo ops to show you what's there in case you're traveling in the area, but I'm definitely not going to make a big deal out of stopping there and hanging out. So we'll see how our timing is looking by the time I get to those points. For now, it's time to get off the interstate, hopefully out of this headwind a little bit, and make our way over to Bemidji. See you, North Dakota. Bye-bye. Alright, so that was an exercise in stupidity. I decided I would go off the beaten path and explore some things up here, because this is not a part of the state I'm familiar with. So I thought I would stop by the Glacial Ridge National Wildlife Refuge. And as far as I can tell, I didn't see a glacial ridge, and I didn't see wildlife. I saw a quarry, lots of minimum maintenance gravel roads, and some cattle. Now, I'm guessing that there is some wildlife around here, and I can definitely see there's kind of some rippling to the land, but I was hoping for like a big lookout or something like that. I was using the Apple map on my phone, and it just kind of took me to this minimum maintenance road and said, all right, prepare to stop and park in 400 feet. And I'm on a one-lane gravel road that's barely been driven on. And there was just nothing there. Maybe that's where the wildlife was supposed to be. So not what I had hoped for, and it actually put me behind schedule a little further. Then I was going to go to the headwaters of the Mississippi, because at least I know that's there. I've been there before. But the routing was putting me not even there until 1:30, which is a half hour later than I planned on being in Bemidji. So I'm just going to kind of drive past that area and go straight to Bemidji now. It's saying I'll get there at 1:23, so Gonna try to make a beeline and get there and get charged up and maybe see Lake Superior instead of this fantastic glacial ridge I appear to be missing. As we're coming into more of the forested land, you can definitely see the colors have begun changing. They're not at peak yet, but there's a lot of yellows, and we're starting to see some red. So fall is upon us, and a lot of people are going to be doing fall color drives in the next few weeks. So if you're interested in something like that, look up your local group and see if there's one you can join. I know we've got one going on here in Minnesota in October, and I'm sure there's something like that in the area you live in as well. All right, not too bad. Got here with 28% after a lot of wind and hammering it, from about 93% in Grand Forks, and that stupid detour. Only made it here 15 minutes late, so not too shabby. Gonna use the restroom, get plugged in, and make our way on. Hello and welcome to Bemidji, Minnesota, and the new 8-stall V3 supercharger.
I'm Jamin. I work for the city of Bemidji, and we helped get the permit process through for the Tesla superchargers. It came online here last month, and it's located right by the Target, Marketplace Foods, restaurants, right at the interchange of 71 and Highway 2.
The little express food and gas is great because it's a gas station on this side, but a grocery store also once you get in there. So really nice stop. Obviously we're in the North Woods area, lots of things around, but what are some of the main attractions in Bemidji and the surrounding area?
Well, of course, you've got Itasca Park. That's about 40 minutes south. You've got Bemidji State Park. You got a great trail system around of Lake Bemidji. You also have trail systems that go all the way to Walker, back out to Alexandria. So you could do a lot of different activities here. There's skiing at Buena Vista, not a very big hill, but there's a lot
Minnesota.
For Minnesota. It's a hill. Fishing, of course. You're surrounded by lakes.
I was here a couple years ago for the Beltrami Electric Co-op ride and drive. That was nice. There's a CHAdeMO and a couple level 2 chargers over there, but there's not much around. So this supercharger's got great location, plenty of restaurants, Applebee's, Burger King, Culver's a little bit away. Might be a chilly walk in the winter, but there's stuff nearby.
There is, and there's also now a new level 3 and some new level 2 chargers downtown Bemidji, which are walkable within with all the restaurants down there and shops and things like that as well. There are some free chargers around, but you got to go find them downtown. This is basically kind of the outskirts of the city, but you do have some options down here. But this is great for fast charging. But you could, even in the winter here, I think you could probably make it through this mall and get over to Culver's pretty easily.
Yeah, you duck in, thaw,
Yep.
then go back out. Yeah.
Go in, buy something else. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's good when there's restrooms nearby, but also an opportunity to support some local businesses when you're coming through here and charging and stopping for a few minutes.
For sure. Even across the street, you have strip mall. You could, if you really wanted to plan it out, you could do a lot of thrift store shopping around here and really help support the local business and show that putting this infrastructure in does help out the local community.
Yeah, and with all the space in the Model Y, you could fill it up with thrift store finds. Fantastic.
Oh yes, fill that frunk and trunk up.
Yeah, definitely.
We got university, Bemidji State University, great locations right on the lake. We have a Sanford Health Systems here, which is a big main economic driver for the area. But there's so many places to see around here. I mean, I've lived here for a decade, and I still haven't been to a lot of the outlying parks and trails and the natural areas that are abundant around here. I drive a 2015 Model S 85D. My wife drives a 2020 Model 3 long-range all-wheel drive. So we got hers first, and then I had to get the used one.
So you were actually part of the permitting and the process of getting these up here. What was that process like?
Well, I was approached by a Tesla representative to our planning office, and they were looking for sites to place the superchargers. And originally they looked at Target parking lot, and we looked at some other locations around the city, and ended up deciding on this location because it met Tesla's requirements, and then obviously need a business owner to be on board. But the process was rather smooth. There wasn't any real permitting. It was just to make sure that they met the ordinance within the location, and then the rest of it was pretty much dealing with the property owner and then the power company.
It's great to have one here. Like you said, it's close by some major crossroads, and not too far from the airport.
Yeah, that is. So if someone's looking to actually have a Tesla from somewhere in the surrounding area and wanted to take a flight out, now you actually have the opportunity to top your car off, leave it at the parking lot, come back, charge back up, and leave. So we are Bemidji is a regional hub for this part of the state. We don't really have anything in 2 hours in any direction. So this really connects the dots as far as people getting north. Now you can get to possibly Winnipeg or even to into Canada from here. So this is just great.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Great to meet Jamin in Bemidji and share the cars with some locals passing by and the Supercharger info with the employees of the Express Food and Gas. Our long conversations nixed my plan to make it to Lake Superior, but I stopped by to see Paul and Babe on my way out of town. And I found one of those downtown chargers Jamin talked about while I was at the park. It's still very windy. Luckily, the wind is blowing the clouds north, and as we drive, it's just getting sunnier and nicer. So we'll still be fighting the wind, but we also have some trees blocking us, so that's good too. So now we're going to power through on to Carlton and hopefully meet up with some folks there if they have the patience to wait for me. Southeast, you see that little line next to us on the left-hand side of the roadway? That dark line is the Mississippi River. That's as small as it is up here. Kind of driven past the headwaters earlier. Now we're southeast of Grand Rapids. The river just slowly winds its way south, keeps picking up more tributary rivers and getting bigger and bigger. But it's kind of cool to see something so iconic in such a small stage. You can see now with the satellite view, it's kind of even hard to see. There's just trees built up around it, but if you look on the side there, there's the river winding through. We made it up some time, got to Carlton before 5 o'clock, so that was good. We did burn quite a bit of juice, going pretty quick, but we also hit a lot of stoplights on green and were able to make some good time. So fun driving around the lakes and some of the curvy roads, but I need to plug in and get moving here. We got a full house here in Carlton. Lots of Tesla drivers. All right, ramping up here. This is a high usage station, but it is version 3. So they bumped my charge rate down to 80, but I just need to get down to Hinckley, so don't need a ton of charge here. Right, let's see what that is. Navigate to Hinckley Tesla Supercharger. 50 miles. Yeah, we can probably do that already. So I'm just going to plug in here for about 5 minutes, get some buffer against that wind, and then move off the charger. Welcome to Carlton. We are finished charging up. I really only needed about 5 minutes here to get to Hinckley. There is going to be a massive headwind coming up from the south, so I'll have to fight that. But some other folks from the Minnesota Tesla Owners Group came, and they're on their own travels, but came up to the Supercharger here, and we're all going to head down toward the Twin Cities together. They're a little camera shy, so they're all standing over in the blurry area of the shot, not wanting to be seen. I'll see if I can get them on camera.
My name's Tony, and I'm from Burnsville, which I think you're from Burnsville.
Yep.
I just got a Model 3 dual motor long range in June, and this is actually the first time I've been to a supercharger, because normally I charge it at home.
So how was your first supercharging experience? What did you expect, and then how was it?
It was super easy and much faster than home charging. So yeah, it's actually amazing technology to see it charge so fast. And I was down to 15% state of charge. I think it took 25 minutes. So take a bathroom break and come back, and you know, it's almost as convenient as gas, really.
And we've got a couple other friends who are checking out the chargers too. They hadn't been up here, and one of them is a prospective Tesla owner who's riding along just to see if he can get the experience and see what it's like. I hear they went in and got a free soda, but in the end it was about $100 soda because they seem to have lost a little money in the casino. But that's the way things go. They had a good time though, so.
And I haven't lost anything yet.
The Supercharger is now wide open, but was completely packed just moments after I pulled in. So that just kind of goes to show how fast cars come in and out. Just ducking off the highway, stop for a few minutes, be on your way. This brand new Supercharger here in Carlton is getting a lot of use, and because of that and how handy it is, the pull-through spot, I would have to give this 8 or 9 out of 10. Overnights when the casino is closed, you would have a hard time finding a restroom, so you would need to make a separate stop for that. But the resort is open most of the day into the night and opens relatively early in the morning. So for most travelers, that's not even going to be an issue. But I think it's time we power on and head down to Hinckley. We're all charged up and just killing time in a parking lot, and there's no point in doing that. So we're going to hit the road, head down to Hinckley. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Let's do it. Let's hit the road. Heading south from Carlton, the Black Bear Resort and Casino, on our way to Hinckley. And this is one of my favorite stretches of interstate. There's not anything particularly fascinating about it, but it's just good tunnels of pine trees, and they'll open up every now and again to a beautiful lake. And now that the sun is shining, you get the shimmering across the water. And it's just kind of, this area is symbolized like the door opening to the North Woods. Obviously, we're going the opposite way, but still, even coming home, it's an enjoyable drive. We're seeing a lot of Teslas go the opposite way, so people must be heading up north for maybe a fun week of adventuring. Who knows? We've got kind of a posse of 3 Teslas. We've got Tim and his Model S, and Tony behind me in the Model 3. We're just making our way down to Hinckley on a beautiful evening. In Hinckley with much better efficiency than I expected. Still 39% and only 310 watt-hours per mile, so pretty good. I guess maybe drafting behind Tim was the answer. I'm going to plug in here for a few minutes just to do it and let Tony catch up with us and see how we're doing. Welcome to the Hinckley Supercharger. We've got just a quick stop here with our little convoy. I'm going to run in and use the restroom and get a cinnamon roll for breakfast tomorrow morning. This is one of my favorite Superchargers. It's the first one I ever saw in the wild and my first Supercharger review. And I remember when I did that, I was so nervous. I couldn't even say, hey, Jet. No, I can't say it either. I couldn't even say, hey, Zach and Jesse, without doing about 15 takes. It's been a long time since I did that in the fall of 2018, and a lot of Superchargers under the belt since then. But like I said, this spot always has a soft spot in my heart, and love going up north and experiencing this great supercharger. Even though it's V2, it's still a good stop. Pretty good efficiency coming down from Hinckley, 329 watt-hour per mile, even though we were going pretty quick for the most part and still going across that wind, but a lot of traffic kept the wind off us. Still have 81 miles left and not nearly that far to go to home, so not going to plug in here. Just wanted to check in and show that we are at 1,050 miles plus the 20 before I reset this, so 1,070 miles. It's going to be about 1,100 by the time we get home. Just going to check in here and finish our roundup. Welcome to the last stop on the Supercharger roundup around Minnesota. This is a relatively new station, just opened up this summer, and it's got 10 stalls of V3 charging. Right in the Target parking lot, there's a PetSmart, and then Home Depot, Michael's, Cub, all in the same little area here. And then across the way we have a Taco Bell and a Burger King. This is pretty close to downtown Minneapolis, so obviously there's a lot to do there. St. Paul isn't too far away. Plenty of lodging and all sorts of activities, concerts, plays, that kind of thing. Music, all over the place around here. So plenty to do if you're in the area. We started yesterday morning, leaving from Burnsville and headed down to Rochester, across I-90, then back up I-29. Spent last night in Fargo, went up to Grand Forks, then across to Bemidji, Carlton at the Black Bear Casino and Resort, down to Hinckley. Now I'm in Minneapolis, and we'll continue on here home to Burnsville. So a big loop, quite a bit of driving for one person. Autopilot made it relatively easy, but still that many hours in the car alone in 2 days is a lot. All in all, a good experience and great to meet people along the way and have a couple times where we could convoy between stops. So that made it extra fun, especially by the time I got to Carlton tonight. It was fun to see familiar faces and do a bit of the drive with them on the way back south. I'm going to wrap up here and then head on home to Burnsville, and that'll be the end of the Minnesota Supercharger Roundup. So kind of tying the whole trip together as I drive through the southern part of Minneapolis here. The suggestion I had at the very beginning is apropos here. It's Sunday evening, and although there was a lot of traffic coming down south from Duluth and all the northern lakes areas, getting through Minneapolis is a breeze on a Sunday evening, on a school night, I guess you could say. So getting through cities on off-peak times is going to save you a lot of time and frustration and make your trips far more enjoyable. As much as I am a little bit worn out by the last couple days, I think it accomplished the mission, and that was to highlight that these chargers are out there in some of the more outstate areas and along major routes, and not just where I went this big silly loop, but in between there's plenty of chargers, more coming all the time, even more level 2 chargers at different hotels, destination charging, and different municipalities. And of course, every home or business also has infrastructure. Everybody's got electricity for the most part. Home at 9:24. 1,091 miles. We use 366 kilowatt hours and 342 average watt hour per mile. So after 1,091 miles, we're back at home, just where we left off, facing the other way, so I have a little bit of light on my face this time. But the car is behind me, but you might not be able to see it in the dark here. We averaged over the trip 342 watt-hours per mile. Considering all the wind and the interstate high speeds and things, I'd say that's pretty good. But I never approached a supercharger with less than 28% of my batteries. Because I was stopping at each one of these and charging at each one of these, I way overcharged. So I'm going to put the cost on the screen, probably right here, after I have a chance to calculate that. Just understand that that's probably on the high side of any trip you would do, because no one would stop at all these chargers, and if they did, they definitely wouldn't have hung around as long as I did. I did far more planning for the trip, for the event of the trip, than I did on the actual day of driving, other than making sure I knew when I was supposed to arrive and leave a supercharger. I just plugged the next location into the nav. It said, hey, you've got plenty to get there, and I took off. So really great experience. And although autopilot makes this pretty easy, I wouldn't suggest doing this kind of trip on your own. This is kind of a stunt for the sake of doing it. But I would encourage you to look for new superchargers or new charging options around your state. And take a friend or a family member and go explore different parts of your state maybe you haven't visited before. You never know what treasures are in small towns or neat local history that's just kind of fun to learn about. Or maybe there's a glacial ridge that you don't actually ever find. But those kind of experiences give you stories and fun times with friends, driving and checking out new places. I'll have a link for Tesla's supercharging page down in the description below. But you can also check out PlugShare for other charging options. And there's the superchargers. There's Electrify America for vehicles that can use that. Other charging networks, there's level 2 charging. You'll be surprised at some of the things you can find out there. A huge thanks to everyone who joined me at the superchargers or drove along through stretches. That was really great and really neat to see people come out for this. And also great to meet new people and talk to them. And share a little bit of Tesla insight with people just walking by superchargers with their dog or whatever. Those kind of interactions are good and help normalize EVs, so that's pretty cool to see. And I want to thank you for coming on this trip virtually, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.